I'm Bernina expert Amanda Murphy, and this month we'll be assembling the BERNINA 125th anniversary quilt. You'll line up the blocks as shown in the PDF. Make sure you pin the blocks well. Many times I use 2 pins at important intersections. On this quilt, some of the most important intersections are those where the framework meets. So you can see here I've lined up the 2 pieces of fabric, and I shift the top fabric over so I can be sure when those seams meet, it will be a perfect join. So again, I line up those 2 seams. I want to be sure that the seams meet 1/4 inch away from the edge of the fabric, because that's where the seams will be with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then I join my blocks into rows. If there's a seam that doesn't meet well, I oftentimes can let out or take in a few stitches just around the intersection, and that will solve the problem. Finally, I lay out my side border triangles and my corner border triangles. I pin them on to the ends of the rows. Here's a close-up of one of the short rows. When I pin the triangles onto the center unit, you'll notice the little points hang off, and that's fine. You want the bases aligned. Then when I'm ready to join the top unit, I can trim those little points. Everything's assembled on a diagonal in this quilt. And this is what the top unit looks like. So let's look at a side. On one of the longer rows, this is a side border triangle, and you'll notice the point hangs off the top, and that's okay. And this is the longest row. It also has corner border triangles, and you'll notice I've centered those border triangles to the long rows. So now that we've added our border triangles, let's look at all our strips. And I've rearranged them so you can see the quilt top emerge. And finally, this is what happens when you sew the rows together. So the next step is trimming the quilt top center, and you need to make sure, if you've incorporated embroidery, that the intersections where all those seams meet are 1/4 inch away from the edge where you're going to trim. So again, my ruler is 1/4 inch away from that point. Add the borders and your quilt top will be complete. You may choose to forego the borders completely if you are opting out of embroidery. I hope you've enjoyed assembling the 125th anniversary quilt, and I'll see you next month for quilting. Happy anniversary, Bernina!